Hey guys, and welcome back to the Running Diabetic. So, I am 4 days away from my very first marathon. Very first one, and if you've watched a couple of the videos before on this channel, you'd know that, I'm leading up to this big monster of 42.2 Ks. If this is your first time here, I am running a marathon and running a marathon as a diabetic as well, which is extremely exciting. So, like I said, I'm 4 days out, and this past weekend I took part in a 10K race. It was part of the Durban City Marathon. So obviously they had the 42, the 21 and the 10. It just so happened that my long run schedule with my marathon training plan lined up so I could do a 10K for this race, and went out and kind of started like this and then ended like that. So I was pretty impressed. I ran a 53 minutes 10K, which got me into the top 10 in my age category, so I finished 8th in my age category, and I was very happy with my run. I specifically, although it was supposed to be a long run, I wanted to go and push for pace, because the thinking behind that is I wanted to get to a point where I needed to mentally get over the finish line, which I foresee is going to happen on Sunday in the marathon. So I wanted to kind of trial it out, see where my body is, see how I'm feeling, and just, experiment with it, which is awesome. So worked out pretty well, had a fairly decent run, enjoyed it. It's a nice, fast and flat course. So yeah, it was awesome. One thing I wanted to bring up though, and it's something that as a diabetic, I am very aware of, is obviously my sugar levels, but also measuring my levels while I'm running. And I wear a Dexcom CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor, which is this guy over here. The problem that I have with it though is that, as I sweat and am active, the plaster around the CGM monitor comes off and comes loose. So what I've done, and they actually arrived today, is I have got what are called the Dexcom overpatch. And this basically fits around the sensor and secures it to my arm and keeps water out, which is great because mentally going into the marathon, I want to be able to know that my sugar levels are being measured and not have to worry about the transmitter coming off of my arm. Now, a little bit of insight into the Dexcom is what it does is it fits permanently, well, not permanently, every 10 days I put a new sensor on. And what it does is it tests my sugar levels from the fluid, so it's the interstitial fluid, and sends those readings to either my phone or my watch every 5 minutes so that I can track where my sugar levels are at any time during the day. This is vitally important for me as a diabetic, and specifically as a diabetic runner, to be able to know where I'm at, because that then will help me know how I need to fuel, when I need to fuel, if I'm hitting a sugar low or if my sugar's too high, what I need to do and what I don't need to do. So when I should eat and when I shouldn't eat. So it's been an invaluable piece of tech that I have and have access to in order to manage my sugar levels correctly. And like I say, it's been absolutely valuable because I can check at any one time on a long run, oh, my sugar levels are dipping, let's have some kind of quick glucose to, write my sugar levels. So that's been valuable, and I'll be using this on the marathon this Sunday. So as a diabetic, it's extremely important to measure your sugar levels and know where you're at. And this is specifically for diabetic runners. Couple of tips. Number one, don't guess, test. always test your sugar levels, whether you're doing the finger prick test or you have a CGM. Know where your levels are, because you don't want to get caught in a situation where you're having a bad sugar low and you're not sorting it out, or your body feels like it's going into a sugar low and you remedy the situation with some Coke or some glucose sweets when it's actually not a sugar low. So you need to be very careful with what your levels really are, okay? Specifically as a runner. Number 2 tip that I have as a diabetic runner is make sure you're eating low GI carbs, especially for a long run, in the morning. Now, you don't want to, and what doesn't work for me is having a load of insulin in my body, because that will drop my sugar level very quickly. So what I like to do is I like to have maybe a cup or a cup and a half, depending on how far I'm running, of oats in the morning, and I will dial in less insulin in my EpiPen than I would on a normal day. So a day of no activity, a day of high activity, I'll load in a few units, not as many as I would normally would, to make sure that the carbs are being processed properly, but that I've got carbs in my system. So you need to be aware of that. You need to eat. And you need to be aware of what you're eating. Sometimes if it's very high intensity training, you can have a higher GI of carb, but I particularly like to just keep it on the low GI carb side and, manage my sugar levels from there. And then the 3rd tip is sleep. Make sure that you are getting between 7 and 8 hours of good sleep in the evening. Because again, this affects your sugar levels. The higher the quality of sleep, the more manageable your sugar levels are. And this is vital because most of the runs that we do and most of the races that I do happen early morning. So usually it's a start time of about 5 or 5:30 a.m. And without quality sleep, I know my sugar levels are going to be all over the place when I wake up. So I need to make sure that I get into bed and have a good night's sleep so that I'm ready to take on the race or the run in the morning. So yeah, 3 top tips, right? And kind of there's a lot that goes into diabetes, but those are just 3 quick wins. If you can manage those 3 things, then you're on the road to an easier run and a more effective run, and you can get the most out of your runs without having to worry about it. So yeah, 4 days out. I'm super excited. I'm super nervous. I'm ready to go. I think my training has been good. I've really stuck to it and really gotten into it. So yeah, I'm excited, and I will fill you guys in and show off my medal in my next video. But until then, guys, keep getting out there. I will see you out there. And yeah, if you like this video and it's helped, remember to give it a thumbs up and a like. Remember to hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. Hopefully it helps. Awesome. Cheers, guys.